Welcome to the channel. Welcome to today's run through of all the latest Manchester United news and transfer updates, keeping you right up to date with everything. I'm Jamie. Before getting into it, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's jump straight into it. So let's kick off with the latest regarding André Onana and his loan move to Trabzonspor. And we'll go through the latest there. So André Onana has his medical schedule ahead of a loan move to Trabzonspor and is set to fly to Turkey on Thursday. That came from Fabrizio Romano. So Thursday, obviously Onana's going to fly, do his medical, and then hopefully we get all the official announcements and stuff like that as well towards the end of the week. Romano also said, understand Manchester United and Trabzonspor have just countersigned all documents for Onana deal. It is all sealed and completed. Story confirmed. Onana joins Trabzonspor on loan from Manchester United. So the latest there, all paperwork, all documents, everything like that have been signed and sealed, according to Fabrizio Romano. He's going to fly out on Thursday, do his medical, and then hopefully, like I said, hopefully we'll get all the announcements and stuff like that from there as well. Interestingly, on Onana, Alex Crook said that West Ham were actively considering a swoop for André Onana. However, Chairman David Sullivan opted not to follow up their interest after watching Onana make two errors in Manchester United's defeat to Grimsby. So there were some rumours, weren't there, at West Ham potentially being interested in André Onana, more so. I think it was like a loan. We've ended up loaning him out anyway, and obviously they watched the Grimsby match like many others, I'm sure, did, and decided, yeah, not for us, thank you very much. But anyway, he's going to Turkey on loan. And it's just all pretty much, apart from the official announcement and confirmation, sounds like it's all pretty much done and dusted. So it's going to be really interesting to see how, what happens with the goalkeeper situation ahead of the derby at the weekend. Give us your shouts actually in the comments below. Right, who would you pick for goalkeeper? Would you throw Senlemon straight in at the deep end, get him in, and throw him in for the derby? Or would you think it'll be more sensible to go for Altay Bayindir and then bed in, Senlemon's maybe at a home game, or because there are no easy games really in the Premier League, and at some point in time we're gonna have to give him an opportunity, because we're not exactly like we've got the Carabao Cup that we can just ease him in gently for. So at some point in time he's going to have a bit of a baptism of fire. Personally, I think it would be a bit too soon. Maybe the Chelsea game, though, because it would have had more time to train and more time for Amorim and the goalkeeper coaches and everything like that to have a look at him. Bayindir's been, he's played all the pre-season games, I think, because it's not just around, for me anyway, it's not just around saving and doing everything a goalkeeper does. It's also gelling, communicating with the defenders, understanding the runs of certain players, understanding the positioning as well. Because one thing Bayindir is actually doing really well, I think, is his distribution. His distribution's been spot on, I think, so far this season. Still needs a little bit of work, but it's nowhere near as bad as what Onana's is. And I do think sometimes he's adapted to that, and he is understanding the sort of playing out from the back element, and I think that's overlooked when we look at Senlemon's, where he's not going to have had the opportunity to do that. He's not going to know the movement of the forward players and whether to go long, whether to go short, and I think that will take a bit of training to go in. So I think for that reason, for me personally, I would stick with Bayindir and then give Senlemon's a little bit more time just to learn that element of the game. But yeah, give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments below. Be interesting to see and hear what you would do for the ahead of the derby game. Would you, like I said, throw Senlemon straight in, throw him in at the deep end, or stick with Bayindir and ease Lemons in gently? Give us your shouts on that in the comments below. Now let's go through the rest of the transfer news. So Fabrizio Romano on one more midfielder in 2026. He's done a video saying that Manchester United maintain the idea to add one more player in midfield. It wasn't possible this summer, but Manchester United maintain the idea to do one more signing in the January transfer window, and it might be more based on the opportunities and on injuries as well. So Fabrizio Romano is confirming that United are looking, or potentially going to look, to add a midfielder in the January transfer window, which is really interesting. He went on to say that a new midfielder is expected to join Manchester United in 2026. We'll see if it's going to be a top player immediately like Baleba, but it's not going to be easy in January. So I think we're aware that it's going to cost a lot of money to get Baleba out of Brighton anyway, let alone in January. But maybe in the summer, or if they find an opportunity like Conor Gallagher in the final days of the window, but Atletico Madrid said no. So Romano's saying, look, yes, we are going to look to do a midfield signing in January, but we don't know whether it's going to go for somebody like Baleba. It's going to be obviously expensive, or are we going to look for an opportunity in the market like Conor Gallagher, because we were interested in bringing him in at the end of the transfer window in the summer as well. So again, that's going to be interesting to see what happens. There's obviously a few months away before the January window opens, so we'll maybe get a little bit more rumours and murmurings closer to the time. Romano also said, though, for sure, the idea is to add one more midfielder to the squad, and still that is something that Manchester United will discuss in the next few months, so let's follow the situation and see what happens. So according to Fabrizio Romano, United are going to be looking at a midfielder potentially in January, but it depends on the target, what budget we've got available, who is actually available, because it's a difficult time to buy players anyway. And I seem encouraged a little bit by that, because how often have we been critical of United not having the money to go and strengthen in January? And I do like the fact that we haven't rushed into anything in the summer, as frustrating as it is, but it gives us the opportunity, because I suppose if it depends on where we are at that time, because if we've got a chance of getting into the top 5 or getting into Champions League, and with that, and Baleba is seen as the missing piece, maybe it's worth the gamble to go and spend a little bit more to help us out for the final part of the season. Or if we're miles off and we're competing for Europa League places and stuff, then maybe you do a loan as a short-term option, or somebody maybe a little bit cheaper that then can keep the money there, so you can restart, do the rebuild, and go for your primary target in the summer as well. So I think that could have a part to play in it as well, depending on when our league position is. Do you go for it? Do you just bite the bullet and say, well, actually, hold on, we've got an opportunity here to maybe do better than what we were expecting this season, push the boat out, go for a Carlos Baleba or a Wharton or whoever else we're potentially going to go for? Or if not, maybe then you go for somebody a little bit cheaper, short-term option, stopgap, however you describe it, and then go for your number one target in the summer. So I think it gives us a bit of time to evaluate it as well. As frustrating as it is, because we've got obviously a lot of games between now and January, but it just shows again like a change in policy, where we're not just going to buy for the sake of buying. We want to buy the right player, and even if that means maybe waiting a few months to go for him, it gives us more time to analyze the situation, see how the lay of the land, and then go for your targets from there. But give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments below. I'm sure you'll have a lot to say regarding that. Now, interestingly, so Fraser Fletcher has said that sources close to the club reveal that Amorim is seeking dynamic creative players to elevate United's engine room, and the Red Devils have already begun laying the ground for some high-profile moves in the transfer window. Now, in the report itself, it said that topping United's wish list is Crystal Palace's Adam Wharton, 21-year-old gem whose poise and vision have made him a dream target for the Old Trafford hierarchy. So that is a name we've been linked with Adam Wharton for a while now as well. So potentially that could be one we would look for. Again, he's going to cost a lot of money, though, in January. I think the other one, Carlos Baleba, no surprises there. He seems to be the main name that we are heavily linked with. Obviously, we had talks and via intermediaries in the summer, had talks with Brighton regarding him as well, agreed personal terms, everything like that. And the Athletic and multiple other outlets are saying that Carlos Baleba is seen to be the one that we are going for, the one that Ruben Amorim really wants, and is well liked by everybody behind the scenes at United as well. But in the report, it said that Brighton's Carlos Baleba is another name firmly on United's radar. The 21-year-old Cameroonian has been a revelation since joining the Seagulls, blending athleticism and technical flair in a way that screams Premier League elite, although he has started the season a little bit below his highest standards, but with plenty of football to play between now and the January transfer window as well. And then interestingly in the report, it said about Rúben Neves. So adding intrigue in the mix is Rúben Neves, the 21-year-old Portuguese star whose contract with Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia is nearing its end, so it runs out in 2026. His experience, coupled with proven quality at the highest level, aligns perfectly with Amorim's desire for a seasoned presence to complement United's youth. So there's an interesting name as well, but potentially, a cheaper alternative. I don't know whether you could do a deal for Neves in January, but he's only going to have 6 months left on his contract. You could do a pre-agreement with him as well. What are your thoughts on that? 28 years old now. Was a player that I remember us being I'm sure it was when Fergie was in charge, and he was very, very highly regarded. So before he went to Wolves and anything, was a name that we have been linked with for a lot of years. Obviously, couldn't get the move from Wolves. He went to Saudi Arabia, but we have been linked with him for a lot of years. He's almost as long as Wesley Sneijder. We've been linked with Rúben Neves. But in seriousness, what do you think? 28-year-old goes against the grain of what we would be looking for in terms of age profile if we're wanting to, bring players in that are going to be ready in 2 or 3 years' time when hopefully the rebuild is complete and we're ready to compete and start to compete for winning the Premier League and stuff, because that's the aim of Ineos. Whether that's possible or not, we'll obviously only time will tell on that, but that's the ultimate aim. A little bit above that, but there's an argument to say that if Casemiro goes, Harry Maguire's potentially going to go, he's out of contract. Maybe we do need a bit of senior leadership in the group as well, although we'll still have hopefully De Ligt, Mazraoui. I think Dallo would be a bit more senior then. Luke Shaw if he stays. So and he was he's got good leadership qualities as well, Neves, and obviously Premier League proven as well. But give us your thoughts. What do you think? Ruben, I keep wanting to say João Neves because I was that obsessed last summer with us going for João Neves. Whenever I see Neves, I keep wanting to say João Neves. But Rúben Neves, give us your thoughts and feelings on Rúben Neves in the comments below. Would that be a player that you would like to see United go for? I can see value in it. I can definitely see it's just whether he would be against the age profile that we would be looking for, I would question. But yeah, give us your thoughts on that in the comments below. I'll be interested in reading those later. And then going back to Baleba, Fabrizio Romano said the club position in August was clear. Either they get to the midfielder they want or wait for the next windows. The player they want is Carlos Baleba. So more, there's no smoke without fire with Baleba. I do think he is the midfielder that we want. Whether we can get him in January or not, who knows? Might still be a bit more expensive, in which case do you maybe look at a stopgap or somebody to partner him, look at some other options as well. So it's going to be really interesting, because I do think we've maybe got the money available now that we've got a lot of the exits sorted, because I think when we went in for Baleba, obviously Brighton didn't want to necessarily sell at that time, but I don't think we were quite fully understood as what was happening with Sancho, what was happening with a lot of the other exits as well, because we knew that at that stage we had to sell to buy. Now that we've got obviously the money, we've reduced some more wages with Onana going and Sancho and Anthony. All of these deals at the end of the transfer window, maybe that has freed up a little bit of money for us to go and say, okay, yeah, let's go and have a big push for Baleba in January. But it's going to be really interesting. Give us your shouts in the comments below. Now, another potential midfielder option would be Stiller. So I read this in the Manchester Evening News, saying that Manchester United will try to sign Stuttgart midfielder Angelo Stiller once again in January after failing with a late move in the summer. Caught offside have claimed that United tried bringing him in before the window closed. Stiller has a £32 million release clause in his contract. Now, I'm pretty sure that Fabrizio Romano already debunked those rumours. I brought you a video a few days ago saying that Fabrizio Romano said there was nothing at all whatsoever in the reports that United were trying to get a last-minute deal done for Stiller. It doesn't necessarily. I don't think he said that. He's not a player that we're interested in or haven't been interested in. But on deadline day, or towards the end of the transfer window, there was reports coming out saying that we were, in secret negotiations with him or some nonsense like that, which Romano has debunked. So I would question that's I would question that story very much if they're saying that we made a late bid when Romano's already come out and said no, we didn't make a late move for him as well. But give us your thoughts on that in the comments below. Stiller's a good shout. I like Stiller. I think he looks a good ball playing, progressive midfielder. If you want to bring somebody in, whether I would question, I always worry about bringing in players though from the Bundesliga to United, just because we've got a really, really poor record of doing that, and it always makes me a little bit nervous when doing it. But he's not a massive, if it's £34 million the release clause in his contract, although I do think they've got something where they can pay money to renegotiate a contract or a release clause. It's something weird like that, but you'll correct me in the comments or you'll know more, regarding that below. So let us know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But yeah, give us your thoughts. So overall, according to the reports, it is looking like midfielder in January, whether it's going to be one of our top targets like Carlos Baleba or Wharton, who I would say are on the list of midfielders that United are very, very interested in, or whether it would be a stopgap signing or maybe a cheaper signing like a Rúben Neves, or will we go back in for like a loan option for Conor Gallagher, for example, because we made a late loan move for him at the end of the transfer window. We'll have to wait and see. Going to be interesting. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of noise between now and then anyway. But give us your thoughts on that in the comments below. Give us your thoughts on all the other topics discussed in today's video. That's you all up to date with the latest news and transfer updates. Smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. See you in the next one.